The night was heavy with silence, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl. The air inside the palace felt thick, weighed down by the tension that had been growing since Nana collapsed before the elders. Chief Oduro sat on his bed, his strength slowly returning, but his mind restless. He had seen many betrayals in his time, but nothing could have prepared him for what was happening within his own household. Kwaku stood outside the chief's chamber, his arms crossed, his face set in deep thought. The events of the last few days replayed in his mind. The strange illness that gripped the chief, the whispers of dark forces at work, and now, Nana's sudden collapse after drinking from the elder's cup. Something was wrong, and Kwaku knew that the answers lay hidden beneath the surface of all the ceremonies and traditions. Inside the grand hall, the elders remained seated, murmuring among themselves. The other wives of the chief sat in a corner, their faces unreadable. Some looked worried, others suspiciously indifferent. The seer, the old woman with white sightless eyes, had been summoned once again. She sat quietly, running her fingers over the beads on her staff. Finally, she spoke. The gods have shown me signs. The darkness that lurks in this palace is not the work of mere men. It is ancient, woven into the very fabric of this household. A murmur spread through the hall. The warriors standing at the entrance exchanged wary glances. Kwaku took a step forward, his voice firm. Then tell us, elder mother, who among us is responsible? The seer turned her head slightly, as if sensing the weight of the question. The one who wears the mask of innocence may be the most dangerous. Chief Oduro, despite his weakness, straightened up. His gaze moved across the room, lingering on each face. He had trusted all his wives, but doubt was beginning to take root. Suddenly, there was a loud thud from outside. The guards rushed in, their eyes wide with fear. My lord, one of them said breathlessly, the sacred drums, they are beating on their own. Gasps filled the room. The sacred drums of the palace were only played during war or great danger. If they were sounding now, without a drummer, it could only mean one thing: supernatural forces were at play. The seer's lips tightened. It has begun. Kwaku did not hesitate. He turned sharply and strode towards the palace entrance, his heart pounding. As he stepped outside, the sight before him sent a chill down his spine. The sky had darkened unnaturally, thick clouds swirling above the palace. The air was heavy, charged with an energy he couldn't explain. And there, in the courtyard, stood a figure cloaked in darkness. Nana, Kwaku whispered, his fist clenching. But something was different about her. Her eyes glowed with an eerie light, and her posture was stiff, unnatural. The chief and the elders rushed to the entrance, their faces a mix of fear and confusion. She is not herself, the seer warned. Something, or someone, has taken hold of her spirit. Nana lifted her arm, and with a flick of her fingers, a powerful gust of wind tore through the courtyard, sending dust and leaves into the air. The warriors stepped back, their grips tightening on their weapons. Chief Oduro's voice was hoarse, filled with pain. Nana. What have you done? Nana's lips curled into a slow smile, but it was not her usual warm expression. It was cold, cruel. I have done nothing, but accept what was meant for me. The seer banged her staff against the ground. She is under the influence of a dark covenant. If we do not act now, she will be lost forever. Kwaku's jaw tightened. He had sworn to protect the chief, to protect the kingdom. But now, he found himself standing against the woman he once admired. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. If there is a battle to be fought, he said, his voice strong, then I will fight it. Nana tilted her head, amusement dancing in her unnatural eyes. Then fight, Kwaku. Let us see if you truly have the strength to defy fate. The air crackled with unseen energy as the final battle for the soul of the palace began. A thick silence settled over the palace courtyard, broken only by the eerie rustling of the wind. Kwaku's heart pounded as he faced Nana, who now stood before him with an unnatural aura. The once gentle and graceful woman now radiated something dark and sinister. Her glowing eyes locked onto him, filled with power that was no longer her own. The elders, the warriors, and Chief Oduro stood frozen at the palace entrance, watching the confrontation with a mix of fear and uncertainty. The seer's sightless eyes scanned the air as if sensing forces beyond the visible realm. "Nana," Kwaku called out, taking a cautious step forward. "Whatever this is, fight it. You are stronger than whatever has taken hold of you." Nana chuckled, her voice layered with something ancient and cold. "Stronger? You do not understand, Kwaku. I have finally embraced the truth. This palace, this kingdom, it was never meant for weak men who cling to fading traditions." She turned her gaze toward Chief Oduro. "You, my husband, have ruled long enough. Now, it is time for a new reign." Chief Oduro's face twisted in pain, not just from his recovering illness but from the betrayal he was witnessing. "Nana. I loved you. I trusted you." Nana's lips curled into a smirk. "And that was your greatest mistake." Suddenly, she lifted her arm, and the ground beneath them trembled. The sacred drums, which had been beating on their own, grew louder, their rhythm wild and chaotic. The warriors instinctively tightened their grips on their spears, ready for battle, but none of them dared to move first. Kwaku's muscles tensed. He could see it now, this was no longer just about Nana. This was something bigger. A battle for the soul of the palace itself. The seer raised her staff and slammed it against the earth. A deep hum filled the air. "This darkness is old," she declared. "Older than this palace. Older than even the bloodline of the chief. It has returned because it was never truly defeated." Kwaku clenched his fists. "Then we end it tonight." With a battle cry, he lunged forward. Nana's response was instant. She raised her hand, and a gust of wind surged toward him, knocking him backward. He hit the ground hard but rolled to his feet just in time to avoid another invisible strike. The warriors hesitated, unsure whether to intervene. This was no ordinary battle, it was a fight against something beyond their understanding. Chief Oduro struggled to his feet, leaning heavily on his staff. "Stop her," he commanded, but even he seemed unsure how. Kwaku gritted his teeth and charged again. This time, he dodged Nana's attack and reached for her wrist, gripping it tightly. For a moment, he saw something flicker in her eyes, a brief glimpse of the woman he once knew. "Nana," he whispered. "You can still fight this." She gasped, her body trembling. But then, a shadow passed over her face, and whatever humanity had surfaced was gone in an instant. With an unnatural strength, she pushed Kwaku away, sending him sprawling onto the ground. The seer moved forward, her voice calm but powerful. "This must end now." She turned toward the elders. "Bring forth the sacred water." One of the elders, a frail but wise-looking man, hurried inside and returned moments later with a carved wooden bowl filled with shimmering liquid. Kwaku staggered to his feet as the seer approached him. She dipped her fingers into the water and marked his forehead with it. "You are the only one who can stop her," she said. "But you must act quickly, before the darkness fully consumes her." Kwaku nodded, determination burning in his eyes. He turned back to Nana, who was now watching them warily. "Come then, warrior," she taunted. "Let us see if you truly have the strength to face me." With a final breath, Kwaku rushed toward her once more, but this time, he did not attack. Instead, he flung the sacred water toward her. The moment the drops touched her skin, Nana let out a piercing scream. The ground trembled, the air grew thick, and the unnatural light in her eyes flickered wildly. The warriors and elders shielded their eyes as the energy around her crackled. Nana collapsed to her knees, clutching her head. "No," she cried, her voice layered with pain. "I will not be defeated." But Kwaku did not stop. He reached for the bowl and splashed the remaining water over her. A deafening roar echoed through the palace as a dark mist erupted from Nana's body. It twisted and writhed in the air before vanishing into the night with an unearthly shriek. Nana's body slumped forward, still and silent. The sacred drum stopped. The wind died down. The darkness that had loomed over the palace lifted. For a moment, no one moved. Then, slowly, Chief Oduro stepped forward. He knelt beside Nana and gently turned her over. Her breathing was shallow, her skin damp with sweat. But the unnatural glow in her eyes was gone. She is free, the seer confirmed. Kwaku let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. The battle was over. The warriors lowered their weapons, relief washing over their faces. The elders murmured among themselves, speaking of the old legends that had nearly repeated themselves. Chief Oduro looked up at Kwaku, his eyes filled with gratitude. You saved my wife and this palace. Kwaku simply nodded. It was my duty. Nana's eyes fluttered open, weak and confused. She looked at Chief Oduro, then at Kwaku. Tears welled up in her eyes as realization hit her. What have I done? She whispered. The chief took her hand, his voice soft but firm. Rest now, my wife. There is much to discuss, but for now, rest. The seer stepped forward, her expression unreadable. This palace has faced its greatest trial, she said. But be warned, evil never truly disappears. It only waits. With that, she turned and walked away, leaving the palace in heavy silence. The battle was won, but the scars it left behind would remain forever.
Please subscribe.